Okay, so welcome to the first presentation. My name is Hadas Heyman. And my accent is definitely not from New York. I'm an Israeli born, also my name can show. And I am a Hebrew and Judaic teacher at Charles C. Smith Jewish Day School. This is the upper school. I teach at the lower school. I'm a third grade teacher. And I've been teaching for over 20 years, specifically at the lower school, Charles C. Smith, for 18 years. This is my 19th year. And also, this is not my job title. This is just my qualifications. I'm also an instructional technology specialist, but I am a tech mentor. And also, I'm not, by definition, I coordinated a mentoring program, but I am the lead mentor at the lower school. And I can tell you that my English gets much worse when I'm nervous, so naturally, but my English is fine, so I'll do fine, but these are just a couple things about me. So welcome to our school. And today I'm going to speak about something that we created with BetterLesson, but we created together at the lower school, specifically a mentoring program. We add mentors at our school, but this is more of a formal and official program that, with the help of the amazing coach Roman, the number one from BetterLesson, helped me build a mentoring program at the lower school, empower mentor using hands-on training. And this is, we spoke about, I heard Roman talking, Rachel Abrams, about personalized learning, making learning personal for students. It's the same idea, but just for our mentors at the school. Make it personal and really speak not to eventually it affects the students, but to personalize our mentoring program for the teachers that we work with. The core training components were hands-on, the videos, protocols we use in our meetings, different observation tools, and self-reflections. And all the links and everything is there in the slideshow that you'll be able to access. And you'll have my email if you need some more information. I have tons. And number one, as an educator, as a teacher, as a teacher leader, as a mentor, I love to share. I would love to share as much as I can. I got so much from BetterLesson, and they shared with me, and I'm willing to share anything with love. Why we need the mentoring program? The big why is, first of all, to support professional growth, new teachers and mentors. When I started our school, also I used to work in a different school, there wasn't an official mentoring program. I personally felt that I needed the mentor. Things changed in the last 18 years, and I think that it's definitely support teachers and grow and feel more comfortable in the new position, the new school, even if it's just new to teaching, or as a new teacher that just started to work at the school. A mentor can definitely help you feel more comfortable in a new position. Also increase teachers' retention. I know personally from this year's experience, one of the mentors that we worked as a team, I can't say I trained, but we grew together, worked with a teacher that, based on the feedback that I'll share with you after, said that she decided not to leave the school because of a great experience she had working with a mentor, which we're very happy that she will continue, but it definitely helps increase teachers' retention. And definitely provide opportunity for leadership roles at our school, which I know our school promotes, and hopefully a lot of 21st century schools, Jewish schools and any school, leadership is something that every person that works at the school feels like they want to be part of. So what was the first initial idea? As we mentioned before, I've worked with BetterLesson for 4 years. Specifically with Roman, and the initial process, the first year I worked personally as a teacher, a school teacher. It definitely changed a lot of things within my classroom and other teachers that worked in my school. But during the second year of working with with BetterLesson, our school really felt the need to formalize a mentoring program. But before that, I was first a mentor myself to a few teachers at the school, to 2 new teachers. So the second year of me working with BetterLesson, I worked with Roman, and we developed the program and the initiate the first mentoring relationship with me and my mentees. And throughout the year, we met for every 2 weeks for half an hour and just build a relationship. So the first attempt with the pilot mentor with me, and then we met every other week, and we filmed our sessions, and we, based on the videos and a lot of other things that we did that you'll have all the resource, we just tweaked it and changed it and worked on how to build relationship with mentors and to become a mentor myself. So this was the second phase of the program. And then during 2017 to year 2019, a first cohort after working with administration, my principal is here and my boss is here, right there, and which is very, very important. But I would say the same even if they weren't here. So we worked with 5 mentors and asked permission to use their picture. And also videos, you can use some of the look at the videos later. We had 5 mentees and 5 mentors, including me. This was the first cohort. We met once a month. Sometimes I also met with them personally, but officially we had scheduled in our calendar for 2 years, once a month, and that's how, with the help also meeting at the same time with my coach. We use everything that you saw, the videos, hands-on, all the resources that you'll see after, and we met, and then the continuation will be at second cohort. After finish, we'll meet for the next 2 years, and I will continue to meet with my first cohort. This is during this year up until 2021, but there's 7 mentors, including me. So the hands-on. These are the concrete tools we use to engage teachers and evaluate instructional practices. I can give you the websites, but we started before we actually videotaped ourselves and teachers because we needed to also step into classroom. And I know I did it at the beginning. And even though I get nervous in front of cameras, and a lot of teachers do, and I know that Roman made me videotape myself teaching and with my students, and I was like, oh, I can't watch it. But I invited also teachers to my classroom, and we kind of videotaped each other, and I videotaped every meeting, and then we analyzed it. But before that, I used a website with a lot of videos that I have, and I can give you the resources. And this is just a 9-minute video, and we actually used the transcript, and we analyzed it, and we kind of did like a practice run on how to mentor teachers, and we did role plays, which I also put the link to the video of the role play, how to actually coach and mentor a teacher hypothetically. And then later on, when we were ready, we walked into the classroom, we did observation, and we used the same language and the same tools with our teachers at the school. And we did it throughout the 2 years that we worked, and I'll continue to the next hands-on. When we met, after, let's say, we observed a lesson, we used protocols. Protocols, that's what I wrote in parentheses. If you're not familiar with protocols, I put the link there. These are structures for conversation. We use the consultancy, but I definitely recommend using protocols. It really structures meeting, and sometimes it sounds like it's very formal. Here, this is the consultancy. You can order the book. I know my school ordered the book with all the protocols, but you can find a lot of them online, and I put the link right there. You can cut it and make it short. I actually made it a lot shorter so we can, and at the beginning when we used it, it was a little bit formal, but then they start to really like it, that it really structures you how to have a conversation around the video. When you observe, we have brought a research article, and we use one of the protocols for research article. It's really a very good tool to really, somebody was like a timekeeper, and it keeps everybody on track. This is another part of our meeting. Observation tools. There are many. I just put 2, I think. At the end, I have a table with all the links, the same ones and a few more. But this is just one, and I just gave an example. But when you go to a classroom, there's so many different tools you can use to observe. I put 3. Every teacher likes something else, but you can use the same when you go to every classroom, whatever works for you. Some of them can be busy, some of them can be less intense, but what I think is really important, what we spoke about during our mentor meetings, when you go to a classroom, you need to meet before with your mentee, with the teacher, and really talk about what you want to observe. And all the things that I'm telling you now, we had conversation in our meetings and we planned ahead, and we spoke about, okay, so what do I tell my mentee if there is a problem? Should we plan to, what if she is not aware that she needs to work on strategies or classroom management? So we use the same language and we kind of problem solve together. So this is just one tool, but I'll put more. And we tried it and we spoke about the best tool for us. Oh, these are two of them, but I put also one picture. I actually liked both, but it depends what you're checking. All these tools are for you to use. And then I think this is the last one, the self-reflection. This self-reflection is for the mentors. As a cohort, as a team, I did it also, and this is something I worked with Roman, also with our meeting, to create this reflection form. And we did it towards the end of the year, but we kind of wanted to reflect, how do we do as mentors? What do we need to work on? And then we had some tools to maybe help us specialize in specific areas. And the feedback that I got from the mentors is that they really like it because it made them also kind of reflect on how they're doing. And we are reflective as teachers. We want our students to reflect. We always have to keep on doing the self-reflections to know how we do. So I kept on doing it as a facilitator. And we were all a team. We worked together. I really recommend that when we do it with our students, when we do it with our mentors, if you ever have the same program or if you want to develop it, I think using a reflection tool is really amazing. I know that in the classroom, one of the things that I know with Roman is use a self-reflection for students when they worked in groups and how to use more Hebrew. So they created, I gave them a self-reflection form. It was much shorter because I teach third grade. And then they spoke about how they did throughout the lesson, if they used enough Hebrew, if they collaborated. Self-reflection tool is really helpful. I always recommend it. So you can really change it, and it's very long, but you can click on the link after and take a look, and you can adjust it. All you have to do is take the document, make a copy, and do whatever you want with it. Lesson learned. I kind of divided it because this is first the lesson learned from the first cohort. Every time at the end of our sessions, I always wanted to know again, reflection. What do I need to do to improve the program? What they like, what they didn't like. I asked them and gave them time during a meeting to fill out an exit ticket. You can use the exit ticket. This is for the mentors. What was most useful? You don't need the email address because it collects it, but what was the most useful for you in our meeting today? I wanted to learn what they liked so I can continue to do. And what would you like to continue more during a meeting? Please explain why. I wanted to know why, what was helpful, what should, again, and then what would you like to improve or change? What I used to do in the next meeting, I collected all the data and anonymously, and I took notes and I projected it. I also had like a slideshow, and we spoke about it. I shared it with them, which again, is something that you should do with kids, with the students. If you talk about the classroom, use exit tickets, reflect it, show the result, show them that you actually care about what they say. The same with mentors, and I always do it to my students. I ask them questions, I put it in a Google form. I always let them know that I do something with this information. You collect data, everybody wants to know you do something with the data. It's not just out there. And then what was very important, again, the impact of this mentoring program. It's not, I always wanted to learn or to reflect what I did fine, what they did fine, how it affects students, how it affects the mentors. The mentee, towards the end of the year, last year after the cohort was done, I gave this survey to the mentees and asked them right before the year was over to fill out this questionnaire. So I'll know how it affected them working with the mentors. I told them it's anonymously, they didn't have to share anything, I didn't collect emails. And what I got, the responses, you can look at it after the questions. I just told you, one of the teachers told me, no, I want you to know who I am because I decided to stay at our school because of the work I had with my mentee. So I got like amazing responses. They all were very positive. I told them I'm not going to tell administration about it. It's supposed to be everything stays here. But the responses were so positive, so of course I will share it because they liked it and they didn't have to. I wanted to know what I should change and what we should change as a team. So you can also look at the satisfaction survey and the impact the mentoring program had on the mentees at our school. Impact that I was able to see, and also the mentors that we worked as a team. So based on mentors' observation, because they went to classroom, we discussed it. We discussed problem of practice, what happened. We solved it together using protocols. Student engagement. I asked permission to use this. This is a little bit, it's like 3 years ago, but when I walked to a classroom and I collected a lot of pictures, what I saw, just based on this picture, engage with the computer, working in group, rotation. Every student was, just happy, working, quiet, time management. You can definitely see the impact on the students, on the teacher, the way the classroom was managed, relationship with parents and co-teacher. This was something that was last year. There was an issue with one of the co-teachers, and when the mentor worked, you can definitely see that working with the mentor and us, we all helped to solve one of the problem, really helped the co-teacher and the new teacher solve problems. One of our mentors actually stepped into the classroom, worked, and how do you say it? She demonstrated, modeled, that's it. She modeled a whole day of teaching. She asked permission to get a sub. And they built a great relationship, and we all together helped her work problem with the co-teacher that the new teacher had. And based on interview reflection, we definitely saw the impact. And then continue with the impact. Definitely classroom management. If you walk to a classroom, you can see kids' ownership, kids' role. The roles are on the wall. Kids, the students knew what they were doing. Time management in the classroom, the rotation, the engagement. Kids, I saw, even objectively walk into a classroom, they were empowered. It's not just engagement. Kids need to feel that they own what they learn. Empowerment. It's not just engaging with the kids. So if you walk into a classroom, that's what you want to see. Not just the noise. I don't care about noise, but I care about learning. And if you walk into a classroom and see everybody engaged, they're talking, just by taking a picture, you can see that there was a change in the practice. Overall, lesson learned. This is like a kind of like conclusions. I think I can add a lot more, but things that are very important based on working with mentors and developing the program. Specifically in our school, it's a must, collaboration between teachers and administration. I think that without working with administration, I don't think it could have happened. You need to really have open communication, support, and I'm saying that before I knew somebody from my school will be here. Definitely, it's important, and I can openly say that you need to build this relationship. You need to have time in your schedule. You need to know that you have support from your administration, otherwise it's not going to work. Like if somebody needs to go and walk a model lesson, you need a sub, it needs to be communicated. That's a must, and that's a thing. You can't even start the program without the first bullet. Meet with the team at least once a month for an hour. It all depends on this. I was like obsessed with, I'm not going to skip a meeting. If the meeting it doesn't take place, we have to find another time. You have to continue the relationship and build it with the mentors. They want it, you want it, and even if it's time that's not convenient, I think it's very important to sit together and build the program together, because if 2 months go by and you don't meet, at least I know I met with my coach. I have, how long? I have like a little bit time, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Well-planned agenda for each mentor meeting. This is like a must. I think even if the mentors in your team don't look at it, I think when you go to a classroom, you have to have a lesson plan. You need to know that you prepare. You're not going to go to a classroom that you're not prepared. The same thing. I look at professional development and a mentoring program in my classroom the same way. You need to be prepared. You send the agenda, and I put a link to one of our agendas in advance. I think the mentors really need to know what it's going to be about. A lot of professional development, and you have like PLCs and meeting after school. You know, I'm a teacher. I know that a lot of time, another time, and I'm going to say it openly, I don't want my time to be wasted. Who needs this meeting? I know that it was important for me that the mentors will know this is what we're going to do. It's not going to be a waste of your time. We're going to learn together, and if you don't like something, we'll change it together. You know, one of the comments they had is no food. I start bringing food. We took turns. You know, they need food to be happy. This is just a feedback, but yeah, but that they needed to know in advance. We'll have this food, gluten-free, we'll have gluten-free, but that's how they can focus, and we were very punctual, which I'll talk about too. Exactly, that's what I was about to go into, the established norms with the team. Norms are just specific rules that we developed as a team. And if you're familiar with norms, we created it together. Like, for example, one of the norms, we start on time and we finish on time. And we all decided that even though our faculty meetings start at 4, they wanted to come 15 minutes earlier, and we started at 3:45 until 4:45. If then some of them wanted to stay a little bit longer with me, fine. But a lot of them, you know, they need to go and they had kids. But we started on time. We didn't waste a second. And we didn't like start chit-chatting in the middle, because we all wanted to be there and learn and really use the time wisely. So establish norms and keep them, and then we used to review the norms every beginning of the meeting and then at the end of the meeting. Did we keep the norms? Do we want to change it? We changed it in the middle of the year because I found that I needed more time for everybody to talk, because I videotaped our meeting, and I found that, you know, one spoke more than the other. So the next video, I made sure that we all kind of have equal participation. Everybody wants to talk and be part of it. So very important to create and I spoke about equal participation. Share problem of practice. I also use in protocols. What's problem of practice? If you have some issue, and it was a little bit uncomfortable at the beginning, so that's why you can use a video from that link of somebody else, and then think about maybe a problem in that lesson. But then towards the middle, we actually decide that everything stays with us, because there's no outside guest. And we spoke about, you know, like relationship, let's say, between a mentor and a co-teacher, a mentee and a co-teacher. As one of the mentors maybe couldn't build relationship with their own mentee and consulted with us using a protocol how to improve it. I really recommend using the protocols for a lot of reasons, also research articles, etc. And then learn about other mentoring program. I think it's very important. I just spoke on the phone, but I didn't have the chance to physically meet the school and just learn about their mentors program. But I did do a lot of research, but I did some of it with the team because you want to know how other schools do it. But I think it's just like we want to know what's going on in other schools when we teach. Just like we use the BetterLesson master teachers and use some of the other teacher strategies. We want to know the same about mentoring. It's very important to see what's going on outside the school. These are all the resources. I want to give you a few minutes. That's very important. I plan to give you more time to play with it. This is everything plus a few more. And so I'll give you a few minutes to play with it and look at it. I know I put like the agenda, so you can see a video. This is a role play. I explain. If you want, if you'll click on the next slide, this is my email, and you'll have it in your slide. You can always continue the conversation. You can email me and ask me for any more resources, any specific question. I'll be more than happy to answer. I can tell you, again, I wouldn't be able to do it without Roman and BetterLesson, one-on-one coaching. Just that also I think that you should always leave time during the mentor meeting. One of the things we spoke about is like to do like, let's say, conversation between the mentors and leave time for me to talk with specific mentors alone, which I know I did in my first design studio. I think it's very important, kind of like you do in the classroom, that when, you know, you can leave sometimes if you do station rotation or whatever, it leaves time to also maybe meet with personal students, the same thing. I think it's very important. So you can play with this, but if you want to ask any questions.
Just with your permission, since we're transitioning in about 7 minutes, how about we make that last 7 minutes just that? So if someone want to just dig into these resources, you can find them in our slide deck.
Perfect.
If you guys want to ask questions to Hadas, one-on-one or to the group, go ahead too.
Okay.
How does this relate to personalized learning?
To personalized learning.
Is all of the mentoring about personalized learning? Because you included classroom management and getting along with your co-teacher. So where does the personalized learning intersect with the mentoring?
That's a great question. When I spoke at the beginning, I said I think that personal learning should happen everywhere. It should happen, and Rachel actually mentioned in the keynote, in the classroom with students. The same way I would choose to, when I spoke about like doing exit tickets and a questionnaire, I want to learn about my students because I want to personalize my lesson towards my students, you know, what they like, how they like to learn. The same way with my mentors and mentees. I will personalize, first of all, every mentor will personalize the work with the mentee that you worked with, specific goals. Like some teachers want to work on mentors and mentee, they want to work on maybe classroom management, maybe use more Hebrew in the classroom, maybe how to do a classroom rotation, a station rotation, blended learning. So it should be also based on what the needs and the personality of the teacher. That's more personal. When I worked with my coach, it was personal to what I need. And so 1 year it was about, I remember I started my second year, I wanted to give my students an opportunity to speak more Hebrew. And when I filmed a part of my class, I remember Roman watched my video and I said, you know what, I noticed that you spoke, but your kids didn't speak as much. And he doesn't speak Hebrew, but he noticed that. I said, you're absolutely right. And that's how we said, okay, we'll work on this goal. And then the next year, oh, this was my goal. I want this year my students to speak more Hebrew. It was very important, but then how we personalized the specific goal, we started and said, you know what, Roman, I have a very, very challenging class. It was a few years ago. I don't know if right now the Hebrew, I mean, I want to push it a little bit. I think we should focus on, first of all, how to really manage the class and work in groups, which for me was, you know, I've been teaching for so many years, it was so natural. It took me, I know, 2 months, and again, he had me film just the morning meeting part, like maybe a few minutes. And then first we started with building the groups and how to really create group work, and then we moved into the second goal. So this was personally for me, working with the BetterLesson, personalize my teaching as a teacher. But when I built a mentor program, I thought about also personal learning for the mentee, for the mentors, and also as a teacher and as a teacher leader, I'm supposed to also reach not only the students is the end goal, obviously, we want to empower them. And I'm looking at this is the mentorship, but the same as what I would do in the classroom. But when I mentor, I mean, if you want jump and want to add, go ahead. But I think about it is like when I look at me working with a mentor, I always want to find time to mentor somebody in a personal way, the way it fits that personal person-teacher.
It's such a beautiful question, number one. I want to thank you for
Yeah.
that. Can you tell us a little bit what you do?
I'm the managing director of the Jewish Education Innovation Challenge, whose mission is to catalyze radical improvement in Jewish day schools.
Thank you for, so Hadas covered all of this, but so for, your question made me think about a few different dimensions. One is when you work with mentors, sometimes the tendency could be to work with mentors on how to help mentees survive their first year, right? That's natural, it's hard, but you can have a vision for what you work with mentors toward. So the structure she's describing could totally be established around a common vision that we determined at the beginning. These are the few practices that as a school right now we want to focus on and promote. And so then the structure in itself becomes the vector of the change toward that, right? So I think that your question is really important because this is just a structure. It's a structure toward what? And that kind of like depends on what the school wants to make it for. But if a school is motivated to say personalized learning is our goal, by having the system built this way, then you can ensure that it trickles down even to your first year teachers and not just to your most experienced.
But if personalized learning is not your goal, you can still personalize the mentoring,
Yes.
but it doesn't filter down to the children.
So this is the second point we're going to.
Okay.
I don't know if the other presenters will feel the same way, but I feel like when you experience a professional development experience being personalized for you, it tends at some point to hit you. You'll be like, wait a minute, maybe that's what my kids would also need. Right.
Absolutely.
And that metacognitive level, they all kind of hit it at some point. So one way we see that, for example, and we share a protocol with them, that our adult learning protocol, we do them together, and sometimes we come to their classroom and do it with kids. And I thought they were too big for kids. And they were like, no, they're not too big for kids. I tried it on my kids, they loved it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's kind of that infusion of like, I'm experiencing it. And now I'm like, oh, maybe my kids can do it. And I think
That was very cool.
there was another question for you guys.
Yeah.
Question. So in the world of personalized learning, I understand that it's sort of a bottom-up approach, if you will. Are there also benchmarks and standards for the things that you hope will be achieved vis-a-vis, I don't know, you've mentioned behavior management. Does the school set up a protocol or something that exists that you're all working towards? Or is it all based on experiential classroom in the here and now?
So I think it's a great question, but specifically for the mentoring program, we always try to, this is the message that a school gives, and I think also if you ever went to like a mentoring program, official mentor, they will say that mentors, it's kind of like a safe zone, and hopefully as a school you know what I think we have to transition. I can answer it separately. Yeah, but I think the overall message is that a mentoring is the safe zone for the teacher, and we'll talk about it in the second one.
To add to your question about personalized learning and competencies, I think that's what I understood in your question. We didn't go in the depth of that today, but in each of our professional development, we take this big bold definition that you saw on the slide today, that usually everybody kind of gets behind. But the question after this is, where do I start and how do I do it? So we have actually developed a continuum with competencies that people can choose to focus on to get there. Some people are the very beginning of the continuum. For example, the very beginning of the continuum could be assessment is teacher driven, and data should be only in the hands of the teachers. Right? So if that's where I'm starting, then as a BetterLesson coach, I'm going to support you around changing that mindset and helping you see what the power that resides into actually giving access to this to students, even at an early age. Others come to us and they do that already, but they don't know how from there they could create separate paths for different students in a classroom. So then that's what we focus on with them. So we break down these into competencies that a teacher can use to focus on. All right, thank you so much. Hadas, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.